suits you.
Folks, Dan and Rick the Kid here from Lamoille Valley Ford. Before we start, we want to thank our customers and congratulate our entire team for reaching our goal in the car, truck, and SUV challenge at Lamoille Valley Ford.
Folks, with a record start to the year, you can take it from me. It's all gas and no brakes at Lamoille Valley Ford. Check this out. Due to its huge success during the challenge, we've decided to extend our gas card offer for the month of May. With a purchase, lease, or custom order of any new or pre-owned vehicle in stock at Lamoille Valley Ford, you'll leave with a $500 gas card today. That's right, even on an order of a new Ford at Lamoille Valley Ford, you'll get a $500 gas card. That's huge. And right now, our inventory at Lamoille Valley Ford is massive with a huge selection of new Ford trucks, SUVs, and several of the all-new Ford Broncos on the lot and available. Plus, over $2 million in inventory of late model, low mileage, pre-owned vehicles, and we're ready to make deals.
Woo! So drive Route 14, 15, or 16 to Hardwick and Lamoille Valley Ford. Get a great deal on your new or pre-owned vehicle, plus a $500 gas card today at Lamoille Valley Ford. And remember, at Lamoille Valley Ford, we know price matters.
WDEV at 90 is brought to you in part by New England Municipal Resource Center, NEMRIC, a company that recognizes the value of Vermont and all things local, municipalities, businesses, and WDEV.
John Batchelor inviting you to join me weeknights at 9 for Eye on the World. This nightly news program is essential listening for those who seek to understand current events, global politics, economics, science, and literature. I'll speak with experts to offer context and insight. Eye on the World, weeknights at 9 on Vermont's news station, WDEV AM and FM, and streaming at WDEVradio.com.
The Brady Farkas Show is produced and funded by WDEV and the Radio Vermont Group. We welcome listener feedback. Email your comments to WDEV@radiovermont.com.
The teams you care about.
The Patriots are now closer to the bottom of the AFC than the top. That's a fact.
The stories that matter to you.
Trevor Story, man, he makes the Red Sox much, much better in 2022.
This is your home for New England sports.
I'm just wondering what happens next for UVM, because I think there could be a lot of turnover on that roster.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? Brady Farkas Show on a pre-holiday Friday. We made it here on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. Short show today, just 40 minutes, 5:30 until 6:10. It was nice to have a full week of shows this week. 4 days here, full shows. Back at it today, just 40 minutes. But then we take you up to Red Sox baseball. Sox with the rare 5-game series against the Orioles. I can't think of almost anybody else I'd rather have a 5-game series against than the Orioles. So we'll talk about the Red Sox. We got thoughts on them. We got a potpourri of stuff. Celtics, Red Sox, little Patriots, a little bit of everything. You can get in on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line, 802-585-3026. Your locally owned Napa stores in Waterbury and Morrisville. Like Phil in Middlesex, who says, Brady, have a great Memorial Day weekend. Go Celtics. Thank you very much, Phil. I'm not there yet. 40 more minutes, though. Anthony says, Lake Monsters home opener tonight, and they're home for the next few days until Tuesday. That's great. Hopefully, Anthony, you didn't buy $1,500 box seats to go to the Lake Monsters. Hopefully, you just paid for the usual $10 variety and enjoyed the game just like you always have, as opposed to, I ranted about that weeks ago. Lake Monsters are selling $1,500 box seats, like corporate seats, like 15 seats in a box, $100 a head. Just completely not worth it. I hope, Anthony, you go to the game, $10 ticket, enjoy it, hang out with Champ, get an ice cream in a Lake Monsters helmet, watch the game. It should be fun. But nobody should be spending $1,500 on box seats to go to Lake Monsters games. But enjoy the game. The opening thoughts, by the way, are on the Brady Farkas Show, and they're coming up next thanks to Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center. Locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And here we go.
Do not, if you are the Boston Celtics, do not let this series go back to Miami. The Boston Celtics, make no mistake, they're going to the NBA Finals. It's going to happen. They are going to close out the Miami Heat. Close them out tonight. Do not go back to Miami. For me, it's not even a question of if, it's a question of when, and that when needs to be tonight, 8:30 at TD Garden in Boston, Game 6. The Celtics are banged up. Robert Williams is banged up. Marcus Smart is banged up. Jason Tatum is banged up. They are banged up and they are tired. The Boston Celtics need to assure themselves as much rest as possible before playing the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. You cannot afford to drag this series on. Again, not because I think the Celtics are going to lose this series, but because I'm worried that another game tonight, another game in Game 7, another trip back, that's not time I need to spend. That's not activity that I need to have happen. The Celtics need to get as healthy as humanly possible. And the way for them to do that is to have as much rest as physically possible. Get that rest beginning after tonight. Close them out, end their season, punch your ticket, and get ready for the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors are really, really good. They're really good again. They're really good still. They are the favorite to win the NBA Finals. If you're going to beat them, you need to have every tool in your toolbox available to you. And one of those tools is rest and recuperation. The Celtics need it. Come out tonight on a mission, focused and aggressive. Look, I'm overconfident. I've written the Heat off. I can afford to do that. The Celtics themselves cannot afford to write Miami off. You have to come into this game laser-like focused, come in being able and willing to be aggressive, seize momentum early. I do not think that this Heat team has what it takes to withstand a big early punch from the Celtics. The Heat just don't have enough offense, and they don't have enough health in order to do that. They just don't. If the Celtics can come out, seize the momentum, and get up 14-3, 22-9, it's over. If they can do that, if they can punch first and punch big, this Heat team, which is so tough, will wilt. They do not have enough offense on their sideline to combat that kind of run. I want to see the Celtics come out right away from the opening tip, aggressive, flying around, motivated. None of the lagging starts that we saw earlier in this series. Not like what we saw in Game 1, not like what we saw in Game 3. Play fast, get the crowd into it. There is nothing like coming out right away on a tear, getting the crowd into it, and taking a team's soul in the first quarter. That is what I want the Celtics to do tonight. Do not send this series back to Miami. You don't need another game, another plane ride back, and then plane rides that cause you to go 3,000 miles. You do not need that. Win this series tonight, punch your ticket, and let's go dance with the Golden State Warriors. Again, Celtics can't come in overconfident, but I am overconfident tonight. Many media members, in fact, everybody I've seen is picking Boston tonight. Colin Cowherd of Fox Sports Radio.
Tatum's in his prime. Just got into it. Jaylen Brown in his prime. Just moved into it. Marcus Smart, I think, a limited offensive player, has been in his prime for about 2 years, but he's in the middle of it. Robert Williams, a limited offensive player, but defensively, he's in his prime. Meanwhile, P.J. Tucker's 37. Kyle Lowry's washed at 36, and Jimmy Butler's knees are 45 years old.
So Colin doesn't give Miami a chance. Brian Scalabrine, NBC Sports Boston, he doesn't either.
I said this thing was over after it was 1-1, and I said it was over after Miami won Game 3. Miami's nowhere near where the Celtics are at. They can't score at a high enough level. The way that they play is not a great matchup for them against the Celtics. It is over.
It is over. I hope that everybody is right and it ends tonight. I want to see the Celtics punch their ticket to the NBA Finals so bad. I want to be talking about Jason Tatum in the same sentence as Steph Curry. I want to be comparing Marcus Smart and his defensive brilliance to Draymond Green and his defensive brilliance. I want to be talking Ime Udoka against Steve Kerr, a couple of guys with Greg Popovich connections. I am ready to make it happen. I am ready to make it happen. The Celtics and the NBA Finals sounds like a great marriage. It's one that I have not seen in my time since I've been in Vermont. I'm ready for it. I am ready to see the Celtics, and I'm ready to see them punch their ticket to the NBA Finals. This is a good team. This is a great story. This is exactly what we need here is the Celtics getting to the NBA Finals for the first time in more than a decade. And it would be a very, very fun NBA Finals. It would be a very, very fun NBA Finals. 802-585-3026. That's the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. Again, you can get in there. Again, 802-585-3026. You know, one other thing that I love about the Celtics is that they are not beholden to one player in their organization. And I think that that's a rarity in basketball. On a team where you only have 15 guys, usually there is one alpha that you have to defer to. The Celtics are not built that way. It's rare, and that's part of the reason why this team is so enjoyable. We had Abby Chin from NBC Sports Boston on earlier this week, and I just asked her, who is the on-court leader of the Celtics? Here's what she said.
On-court, and I mean, you know, inside the huddle, I would say Marcus Smart, followed closely by Al Horford. He has really been challenged to speak up more, and you know that when he speaks as the veteran that he is, everything that he's experienced, guys listen. And then there's no question we saw how much the Celtics missed Marcus in those games when he's out, that he instantly raises that level of physicality and urgency the moment that he steps on the floor. But you can't discount Jason and Jalen as well. They have been challenged by Ime Udoka from the start of the season to step up, be more vocal, get out of their comfort zone when it comes to being a leader. And each of them, while doing it in their own way, have accepted that challenge.
I asked Abby Chin who's the on-court leader. She mentions four guys. Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. That is rare, and that is one of the reasons why I really love this team. They have four guys in leadership roles, and those four guys, they are empowered to be in those leadership roles. It's not a jockeying for position. Maybe it was earlier in the year, early in the season when the team was scuffling. It felt like there were conflicting voices and guys trying to be the loudest in the room. Not now. Four players empowered to be leaders. They may lead in different ways. They may lead at different times, but they all lead. And in a team sport where the roster is so small, that's really special. It's another reason I'd like to see them play the Warriors, because the Warriors have that rare structure too. Steph can be a leader. Kerr can be a leader. Draymond can be a leader. Iguodala, although not playing, he can be a leader. Clay can be a leader. The Warriors have that too. It's part of the reason they're so likable also. You can't hate the Golden State Warriors, and you can't hate this brand of the Boston Celtics. So often, you are beholden to one player in your organization. LeBron controls. Okay, LeBron controls the Lakers. Nothing happens in Brooklyn without Kevin Durant signing off on it. Kyrie Irving wants to have that kind of power also. Brooklyn is a nightmare. Anthony Davis, he held the New Orleans Pelicans hostage there. Kawhi Leonard now doing this. He controlled everything in San Antonio. Now he's trying to control it in LA. Like, this isn't the case in Boston. This isn't the case in Boston. When Kyrie was in Boston, there wasn't a diversity of voices. There was suppression of voices. It was all about Kyrie. Not anymore. It's one of the reasons I love this team. 8:30 tonight. I can't wait to watch. I cannot wait to watch. I hope you're going to be watching too, because I hope when we come in here on Monday, on Memorial Day, we're working Memorial Day. We're not taking days off. We got a team about to go to the NBA Finals. We're not taking the time off. We're coming in here. And I hope you're blowing up the text line over the weekend about a Celtics-Warriors Finals, because I'm going to be here. I hope you're here with me. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. the Red Sox have been really hot. It's been a really nice turnaround. But this is where the Red Sox go from turnaround to actual true contender. I'll explain. That's next on DEV.
At Northfield Savings Bank, we celebrate the ways you work and why you work. To build a business, to make a brighter future, to do something that matters. You don't do just one thing in your business. Neither do we. Whatever your size, you have goals for yourself and those around you. Our commitment is helping you get there. Builders, makers, doers. Northfield Savings Bank. Find out more about us at nsbvt.com. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, this is Nicole DuPont. I am the Hospice Volunteer Coordinator at Central Vermont Home Health and Hospice. We are looking for volunteers to support our hospice program. Join me for our 6-week hospice volunteer training. You may participate in the training in person at our very office or via Zoom. Training is free. Experience with hospice or healthcare is not required. All that's needed is a caring can-do attitude and a desire to make a difference in someone's life. Volunteers are an important part of hospice. Volunteers help patients and families with a range of tasks, including running errands and providing companionship. One of our longtime volunteers, Ron Burma, says that being a hospice volunteer has helped him to open up his heart. Visit www.cvhhh.org for more information and for more details on how to sign up.
When we need support, Vermonters know we can count on community. And when Vermont's community service providers need support, they count on the Vermont Community Loan Fund. For 35 years, VCLF has specialized in lending to community facilities and nonprofit service providers, including rural health centers, assisted living facilities, early care and learning programs, arts and cultural organizations, and even a historic general store or two. VCLF's flexible financing helps them do what they do best, guaranteeing access to essential quality of life services for all Vermonters. Vermont nonprofits and community facilities can count on the Vermont Community Loan Fund, so you can count on them. Isn't that what community is all about? Find out what the nonprofit lending specialists at the Vermont Community Loan Fund can do for your community at investinvermont.org. That's investinvermont.org.
WDEV also serves the Northeast Kingdom at 101.9 W270BR Island Pond.
How well does your garden grow? Tune in Saturdays at 12:30 for In the Garden with Peter Burke. Peter and co-host Joel Nashman give you 1 full hour of the latest news, helpful tips, and your calls to talk about what's happening in your garden. It's brought to you in part by Guy's Farm and Yard. If it eats and grows, Guys can feed it. GuysFarmandYard.com. In the Garden with Peter Burke. Live Saturdays at 12:30. Hear the podcast anytime at WDEVradio.com. Think you know sports better than Brady does? Text in with your thoughts at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in. Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV. Frank, check it in on the Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. Welcome in, Frank, here on this Friday. Remember, you can get in at that number always. This is where the Red Sox go from a nice 2-week story to a true contender. This is where the Red Sox go from on the periphery of the race to right smack dab in the middle of the race. This is the stretch where the Red Sox bust the door down and they get back into this thing. The Red Sox open up a series tonight with the Orioles, a 5-game series with the Orioles. After that, 2 with the Reds, 3 at the A's. The Orioles are among the worst teams in baseball, 9 games under 500. The Reds and A's are deliberately tanking. They are deliberately trying to be bad. 3 of the worst teams in baseball make up your next 10 games. The Red Sox have done the really hard part. They won a series against Houston. They won a series against Chicago. They've swept Seattle. That's the hard part. Now, This is the gift of the Red Sox schedule. They have to capitalize on it. And I believe fully that they are going to. I think when we come back here on Monday, June 6th, and the Red Sox are going to be taking on the Angels on that Monday, June 6th. The Red Sox are going to be out in Anaheim taking on the Angels. When we come back that day, the Red Sox will have just completed 7 or 8 out of 10. And they'll be sitting 5 or 6 games over 500. The Red Sox were awful for a month. They then pulled out of their hat a great 2-week stretch. It's time to capitalize on the next 10 days and vault yourself right back into that mix. As it stands right now, the Red Sox are 3 games back of Toronto for 3rd place, 5 back of Tampa for 2nd place. By the end of these 10 games, very easily, the Red Sox could be sitting in 3rd place and knocking on the door of 2nd in the division. 5 games against Baltimore should be 4-1. The Reds for 2 at home, that should be a sweep. 3 in Oakland, you should take 2 of 3. The A's are trying to be bad. This is your chance. Keep the offense going. Keep the rotation going. Get the bullpen right. This is your chance to cement yourself back in the race. The last 2 weeks of getting relevant again, they have been fun. But now you can make things really fun and really interesting as we hit the early portion of June. And once you hit the early portion of June and you're 5 or 6 games over 500, and now that 2 through 4 race in the AL East is tightened up, well, anything can happen. Anything can happen. I do not think that right now this Red Sox team can win a World Series or anything, but they're certainly better than their record indicated in April. And they can make things very, very interesting, and they certainly can be a playoff team. JD Martinez is hitting, I think I saw hitting like 560 over the last 13 games. Trevor Story has 8 homers in 8 games. Starting pitching has been pretty good. Not always good, but pretty good. I want to see Whitlock get back on track tonight, but this next 10 days opens the door to a lot of conversations for the Red Sox, and Buster Olney of ESPN talked to me about that just yesterday.
The Yankees have gotten off this unbelievable start, and, they've had a lot of things go well. They're kind of in a bit of turmoil right now, even as they continue to win games because of injury issues in their bullpen and in their everyday lineup. They got a lot of things to address. They got to probably fix their reliever roles as we move forward. The Toronto Blue Jays have struggled offensively in a way that nobody else expected, I'm sure. The Rays are, the Rays. But if you're the Red Sox, what you've done in the last 2 weeks is probably put yourself back in play in the American League East.
Yeah, and what you've done in the last 2 weeks coupled with what you're going to do in the next 10 days, you are right back in the conversation here. And the Yankees, no Loaizaga, no Chad Green, Stanton's on the injured list. They are going to fall back to reality. They can only play the Orioles so many times in a season. I feel like every time I look, the Yankees are playing and beating the Orioles. They're going to have to play somebody other than Baltimore here at some point. And the Red Sox get their gift at Baltimore beginning tonight, a 5-game series. The rare 5-game series. It was a 4-game series initially. They threw on the extra game on Saturday. By the way, Saturday, I'm excited. Josh Winkowski, one of the top Red Sox pitching prospects, the 2nd game of the doubleheader, he's going to make his debut. So tonight, 7:10 first pitch. Tomorrow, early, 12:10, and then 6:10. So 12:10 and then 6:10. Winkowski gets the late game. 1:35 Sunday, 7:10 on Monday. I'm kind of surprised the Red Sox are not playing a day game, holiday game. It's getaway day for Baltimore. It's Memorial Day. I kind of would have thought the Red Sox would play an early game on Memorial Day, but evidently they are not. 7:10 on Monday. We talked a lot about Xander Bogaerts yesterday at the end of the show. Like, how can Bogaerts get over the anger and insult of how the Red Sox have treated him contract negotiation-wise? Well, Chaim Bloom was on WEEI in Boston yesterday morning, and he said this about the Bogaerts situation. It wasn't much, but it was something.
Nothing to report. And look, I've probably just given everything to this point. Probably shouldn't be a surprise. How I feel about, talking publicly about these sorts of things. Again, nothing to report, but also our stance here hasn't changed. We're, we want him here. We know he wants to be here, and we're hopeful we can find that path.
We want him here. We know he wants to be here. Prove that to me. If you are Chaim Bloom, if you are John Henry, if you are Alex Cora, prove that to me by doing exactly what I said yesterday. Apologize to Xander Bogaerts, and look him in the eye and say, we screwed up. Promise him he's the shortstop for the foreseeable future, and then offer him a better deal than Trevor Story. If you really want him here, like you say you do, those three things need to happen. Look me in the eye and apologize. Tell me I'm the shortstop. And give me a better deal than the guy that everybody thinks was brought in to be my replacement or my insurance policy. Give me that. 5 for $150, $30 million a year, higher annual value, higher total value than Story. 6 for $175, something. But give me something that lets me know that I am valued and I am appreciated. That's what Xander Bogaerts hasn't been feeling. You got to show him that he is. You got to step up. One other note on the Red Sox. The Red Sox held their 2020 Hall of Fame inductions last night at Fenway Park. I really wish that could have happened on the day of a Red Sox game with a full Fenway Park. I know it couldn't have. I know it's too long. I know it would mess with the flow of the game. I get why you can't do it, but Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, Rich Gedman, Dan Duquette were all honored at Fenway Park. I wish it could have happened on the day of a game so that the fans could have shared that. Big Papi's going into Cooperstown in July. Not every Red Sox fan is going to be able to go to that. If you could have done that on the day of a game at Fenway and allowed yourself 45,000 more fans to see it that might not see it in July, I think that would have been cool. I think that would have been powerful. Would have been sold out. It would have been an unbelievable environment. You couldn't do it. I understand why, but I wish that it would have happened. And two, I want to know where Manny Ramirez was last night. Manny Ramirez was not there for his Red Sox Hall of Fame induction. Now, I don't want to judge fully because I don't know, right? In today's world, you have no idea what somebody is going through. So maybe Manny meant to be there and just couldn't be. I don't know for a fact that that's not the case. But if Manny was healthy and if things were okay, then it's a really bad look that Manny wasn't there. If everything was good with him and those around him, Manny Ramirez should have been there. I know there was some bad blood at the end, but the organization is re-welcoming you. The organization is honoring you. If everything was good, you should have been there. Again, I can't crush him because I don't know all the particulars around him, but I just wanted to see Manny there. I mean, it shouldn't have been that Pedro was there accepting Manny Ramirez's, accepting Manny's, accepting his recognition and making a speech. I just would have liked to see Manny there. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Real quick, I mentioned that kind of a potpourri of everything today. Mike Reese of ESPN, he's out at Patriots OTAs this week. He talked about the Pats' expectations. I want to hear this quickly.
Really high. I mean, Max, I was out at their draft party, and I was listening to, the owner, Robert Kraft, tell the season ticket members, we think we've got the coach and the quarterback, to lead us where we want to go. And when I hear those words, it's like, okay, last year they wanted to bring Mac along as a rookie, not put too much on his plate. But this year, I just feel like there's been a shift. It's like, Mac, be that leader, right? And we're going to put it on you to be that leader and to elevate that much more. So I think it's fair to say that the expectation is raised.
Yeah, I think the expectation on Mac Jones is raised, and I think that's fair. Mac Jones is a leader. He certainly is growing. We talked about that yesterday. Mac Jones physically has gotten better. He looks it anyways. I think it's fair to expect Mac Jones to be better than he was a year ago. The question is is how much better can Mac Jones get? That has always been the question. You can have high expectations and, hey, we won 10 games last year, but at the end of the day, does Mac Jones have a ceiling that allows you to think you can win 12 games, get to the AFC title game, get to the Super Bowl? That has always been my biggest question. It's sure, raise Mac Jones's expectations. You expect him to be, instead of the 20th best quarterback, you expect him to be 15th. That's fine. That's fair. You should get better. But at some point, you're going to hit a cap. And I just think that Mac Jones's ceiling is not as high as a lot of other quarterbacks in the league. I think there's a real disconnect here between the Patriots optimist and the Patriots realist. I consider myself a realist. The optimist says, hey, we won 10, we're going to win 12 or 13, we're going to be back next year. I don't know that that's the case. You look at that schedule, you look at how it breaks down, you look at the travel involved, you look at the talent that you're playing, you look at what you've lost, especially defensively. There are questions there. There are holes there. And I don't know that Mac Jones is good enough. In fact, I think Mac Jones is not good enough to cover for all of them. I hope I'm wrong. I would love nothing more than to eat my words on this. But when I'm looking at a schedule that includes Derek Carr and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Sean Watson if he's playing and Josh Allen twice, I'm thinking to myself, Matt Ryan, like that's hard. Mac Jones is not in that class. You can expect him to be better than he was a year ago. That's fair. But a little bit better than a year ago is not a whole lot. It is not enough of a gap for you to make up. It's the Brady Farkas Show on DEV. We'll come back. I'll talk to you about Memorial Day. That's next.
This is WDEV, Vermont's news station, owned and operated by the Radio Vermont Group. From the top of Sugarbush, 96.1 FM, WDEV Warren and Waitsfield, 96.5 W243 Barrie, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, along with our founding station, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury Montpelier, streaming at WDEVradio.com. 9 years of serving Vermont, the friendly pioneer, WDEV.
Reporting.
I'm Stacy Lynn in Washington.
I was misled. I am livid about what happened. I was on this very stage 2 days ago, and I was telling the public information that had been told to me.
That's Texas Governor Greg Abbott speaking from Uvalde High School. He's referring to what the Department of Public Safety's Stephen McGraw said earlier today regarding the decision to not have officers immediately try to breach the classroom and confront the gunman. McGraw said that was wrong, and the commander at the time believed that the situation had transitioned from an active shooter to a barricaded subject. While officers waited, children inside the room called 911 and pleaded for help. Abbott said he expects authorities to get to the bottom of every fact with absolute certainty about the shooting. Just a few hundred miles away, former President Trump is speaking at the NRA's annual convention. Gun safety groups wanted them to cancel the event, but they would not. Our Natalie Brand reports.
Outside the National Rifle Association's annual meeting in Houston, thousands of demonstrators demanded gun safety in the wake of the Texas elementary school massacre that killed 19 children and 2 teachers.
We're pleading for help from everyone.
Inside, Texas Senator Ted Cruz and former President Donald Trump are headline speakers.
Rarely has the Second Amendment been more necessary to secure the rights of our fellow citizens.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott canceled his in-person speech, but appeared in pre-recorded remarks.
A very high-profile trial is now in the hands of the jury. CBS's Astrid Martinez with details.
After 6 weeks of testimony, attorneys for Johnny Depp and Amber Heard delivered closing statements today.
We ask you to give Mr. Depp his life back by telling the world that Mr. Depp is not the abuser Ms. Heard said he is, and hold Ms. Heard accountable for her lies.
A whole lot of traveling going on this Memorial Day weekend. KCBS TV's Tina Patel is at a very packed LAX.
Doug Champion doesn't mind the crowds. He says it's a sign of things returning to normal after the pandemic.
Oh, it's terrific. I mean, we spend so much time at home, and to be able to reconnect with friends and family is just wonderful.
Despite record high gas prices, the AAA says the majority of people taking trips for the Memorial Day holiday will be driving. Dr. Barbara Ferrer says we shouldn't forget about the risk of COVID when we plan our gatherings.
None of us want to continue to see a rise in cases. None of us want to see our healthcare system stressed out.
This is CBS News.
It's a day to honor,
to remember,
to reflect. This Memorial Day, honor our fallen soldiers with taps across America.
For more information, go to cbs.com/taps.
It's a day to honor, to remember, to reflect. This Memorial Day, honor our fallen soldiers during the National Moment of Remembrance with Taps Across America. CBS is inviting musicians across the country to play the military bugle call Taps at 3 p.m. local time and pay tribute to the veterans we've lost. For information on how to participate in Taps Across America, go to cbs.com/taps.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
My sweet cheeks feeling squeaky clean when Charmin's rolling behind the scenes. Charmin TP gives me those cheeky clean feels. That ultra strong hype is all for reals. Those TP rolls got me a Charmin clean took-it. Cheek to cheek feeling oh so shook-it.
Charmin Ultra Strong just cleans better. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Do you want to learn more about the free market perspective on important public policy issues affecting you, your work, and your community? I'm Bill Sayre, and I hope you'll do so by joining me in conversation with Vermont opinion leaders as we discuss how best to make Vermont an ever better and more affordable place to live and work. Common Sense Radio with Bill Sayre, weekdays 11 till noon.
Your chance to be part of the show is on the text line at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Yeah.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV. Red Sox Baseball, 5 minutes from now. We're getting the lineups here in about 2 minutes or so. I want to tell everybody to have a safe and enjoyable and a happy and healthy Memorial Day holiday here. Number one, let's understand that the Memorial Day holiday has significant meaning. So thank you to everybody who has served. You know, I've become friends with a lot of guys and people over at the American Legion here in Waterbury who have served. Thank you to you. I've become friends with a lot of our listeners who have served. I have friends of my own who have served either in the military or in law enforcement. So thank you to everybody who has served our country and has continued to try to keep it as safe as possible and defended our freedoms. As I've gotten more into the news in general and I'm watching, you know, more coverage of the war in Ukraine and more coverage of things happening at home, it's even deeper, you know, just how important our service people are and the role that they continue to play. So thank you to everybody who has served. So that's on the serious note. You know, I will never forget the meaning of Memorial Day weekend, and I hope you don't either. On the fun note, I tell you that Memorial Day is my favorite holiday. Sans Christmas, Memorial Day is my favorite holiday. Like in the holiday power rankings, Memorial Day is number 2 for me. I love Memorial Day. Memorial Day weekend, it's a long weekend. It's generally, not for me this year, but it's generally accompanied by a Monday off day. You gotta love that. The unofficial kickoff to summer. It's backyards, it's barbecues, it's baseball, it's lawn games, it's beer. There's nothing like it. It's sanctioned, okay drinking on a Monday. Like, there's nothing better than Memorial. Like, Christmas is 1, Memorial Day is 2. Okay, Memorial Day blows Thanksgiving out of the water as far as I'm concerned. July 4th is an awesome holiday, too, for all the same reasons, right? Barbecue, baseball, backyards, lawn games, sanctioned drinking on a weekday if it falls that way. Well, July 4th, really hot usually. Memorial Day, not really hot. So, unofficial kickoff to summer, 75 to 80 degrees, all the things I like. Baseball, beer, backyard lawn games. So, I'll be working on Monday. I won't be imbibing and all that stuff this year. Next year, I'll make sure I get to. I hope everybody does it on my behalf. Have a little fun this weekend. We'll be working we'll have a full news day, and then I'll have a 40-minute show on Monday. Okay, Red Sox baseball coming up here about 2.5 minutes from now. The Orioles Orioles come to town at 18-27. The Red Sox are 21-23. Reminder, this game can only be watched on Apple TV tonight, so most of you don't get that. Well, you can listen to us right here. First pitch, a little over an hour from now. Kyle Braddish pitches for Baltimore. I believe his major league debut was against the Red Sox. He's 1-3 with a 5.74. Garrett Whitlock's 1-1 with a 3.58. He scuffled his last couple times out. Remember, he gave it those 5 runs in just 3 innings last Saturday. So we'll look for Whitlock to get back on track. Cedric Mullins had 30 home runs last year for Baltimore. He leads off at center. Trey Mancini, the great story and a great player. He's batting second at DH. Anthony Santander, he's got 7 homers. He bats third and plays left. Austin Hayes has 20 RBIs. He plays right. Adley Rutschman, the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. He bats fifth, and he's the catcher. Ryan Mountcastle, he did some damage last year against the Red Sox. He's at first base, and he bats sixth. Rougned Odor, the veteran second baseman, bats seventh. Ramon Urias is at third. He bats eighth. And the former Yankees prospect, the speedster, Jorge Mateo, is at shortstop, and he bats ninth. For the Red Sox, Kike Hernandez is at 200, but he's got 3 homers and 20 ribbies all of a sudden. Rafi Devers is at third. He bats second. JD Martinez leads the world in hitting at 380. 5 homers, 21 RBI. He bats third. Xander Bogaerts is the shortstop. He bats fourth. Alex Verdugo's in left. Trevor Story, nobody's hotter than him. 37 RBIs right now for Story. He bats sixth and plays second. Franchi Cordero is at first with his homer and 9 ribbies. Christian Vasquez is red hot, hitting 279. He does the catching. And Jackie Bradley Jr. in the lineup tonight. He bats ninth and plays right field. That'll do it for us. Red Sox baseball is next. Again, Whitlock against Braddish. Red Sox, the first of 5 against the Birds. Well, the Sox need to, like I said, 4 out of 5 right here. Celtics game 6 tonight, 2.5 hours from now. Robert Williams expected to play. That comes out just now from Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN. Have a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. Thanks to everybody who served. Go Sox.